Just Keep Buying, Proven Ways to Save Money and Build Your Wealth by Nick Maggiulli, book summary in English. Welcome back to Power Books, where we decode the strategies behind financial success. Ever feel overwhelmed by the endless advice on when to buy and sell in the market? Do you secretly wonder if there's a simpler, more reliable way to build wealth without constantly chasing the next hot stock? And what if the most powerful investment strategy was actually the most straightforward? This time, we're cutting through the noise and diving into Nick Maggiulli's refreshing and data-driven book, Just Keep Buying, Proven Ways to Save Money and Build Your Wealth. Get ready to discover why the key to long-term financial success might be far less complicated and far more consistent than you think. We'll be unpacking Maggiulli's compelling arguments for why market timing is often a fool's errand and how the simple act of regularly investing can lead to remarkable wealth over time. If you're tired of the financial roller coaster and crave a strategy that's both effective and easy to understand, you're in the right place. So let's get started on this empowering exploration of simplicity and wealth building. And if you're new to Power Books, make sure to subscribe for more insights into the books that can transform your financial future. Chapter 1: The Power of Just Keep Buying. In this introductory chapter, Nick Maggiulli lays out the central thesis of the book. The most effective and reliable strategy for building wealth over the long term is to consistently save and invest a portion of your income, regardless of market conditions. He argues that trying to time the market or chase high-performing assets is often futile and can lead to missed opportunities and lower returns due to emotional decision-making and the difficulty of accurately predicting market movements. Maggiulli emphasizes that the simplicity and discipline of just keep buying removes the complexities and emotional turmoil associated with active trading and market timing. By regularly contributing to investments, individuals can harness the power of compounding and benefit from the market's long-term upward trend, ultimately leading to significant wealth accumulation over time. The chapter sets the stage by highlighting the historical effectiveness and psychological benefits of this straightforward strategy. Key takeaways. Consistency is key. Regularly saving and investing a portion of income is the most reliable path to long-term wealth. Market timing is futile. Trying to predict market highs and lows is extremely difficult and often detrimental to returns. Simplicity and discipline. Just keep buying removes the complexity and emotional stress of active trading. Harnessing compounding, consistent investment allows the power of compounding to work effectively over time. Benefit from long-term growth. The market has historically trended upwards over the long run, rewarding consistent investors. Psychological benefits. This strategy reduces the anxiety and potential for emotional errors associated with active management. Focus on what you can control. Emphasizes controlling savings rate and consistency rather than unpredictable market movements. Chapter 2: Why Market Timing Doesn't Work. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli delves into the compelling reasons why attempting to time the market, buying low and selling high, is a largely ineffective strategy for most investors. He presents data and analysis demonstrating the historical difficulty of accurately predicting market peaks and troughs with any consistent success. Maggiulli highlights the behavioral biases that often lead market timers to buy high out of fear of missing out, FOMO, and sell low out of panic during downturns, ultimately underperforming a simple buy and hold or just keep buying approach. He emphasizes the opportunity costs of sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment to invest, as these periods often precede significant market gains that are missed. The chapter concludes that the energy and effort spent trying to time the market are generally better directed towards consistently saving and investing, thereby capturing the market's long-term growth without the stress and potential pitfalls of trying to predict its short-term movements. Key takeaways. Historical difficulty. Data shows that consistently timing market tops and bottoms is extremely challenging. Behavioral biases. FOMO leads to buying high and panic selling leads to selling low, hurting returns. Opportunity costs. Missing out on market rallies while waiting for the right time can be significant. Time in the market beats timing the market. Staying consistently invested over the long term generally yields better results. Emotional toll. Market timing can be emotionally draining and lead to poor decisions. Focus on consistency. Direct your energy towards regular saving and investing instead of trying to predict market swings. Simplicity wins. A consistent buying strategy is often more effective and less stressful than trying to be a market guru. Chapter 3: The Illusion of Skill in Investing. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli explores the concept of skill versus luck in the realm of investing. He argues that while some professional investors may possess genuine skill, for the vast majority of individual investors, and even many professionals, the outcomes of their investment decisions are often heavily influenced by chance and market forces, rather than pure skill. Maggiulli points to the difficulty in consistently outperforming the market over the long term and highlights the role of randomness in short-term market movements. He cautions against attributing investment success solely to one's own acumen, as this can lead to overconfidence and increased risk-taking. The chapter suggests that acknowledging the significant role of luck encourages a more humble and disciplined approach to investing, reinforcing the wisdom of a consistent buying strategy that doesn't rely on the illusion of being able to consistently pick winning stocks or time the market with skill. Key takeaways: skill versus luck. Investment outcomes are often a blend of both, with luck playing a larger role than many realize. Difficulty in outperforming. Consistently beating the market over the long term is exceedingly challenging. Role of randomness. Short-term market movements are often driven by unpredictable factors. Danger of overconfidence. Attributing success solely to skill can lead to excessive risk-taking. Humility is important. Acknowledging the role of luck fosters a more disciplined approach. Focus on process, not just outcome. Emphasize consistent saving and investing rather than trying to showcase investment skill. The just keep buying advantage. This strategy doesn't require the illusion of superior stock picking or market timing abilities. Chapter 4: The Risk of Not Investing. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli flips the conventional understanding of risk, arguing that while investing inherently involves market volatility, the greater long-term risk for most individuals is actually not investing or holding too much cash. He explains that inflation erodes the purchasing power of cash over time, meaning that money sitting idle will gradually lose its real value. Furthermore, by staying out of the market, individuals miss out on the potential for their money to grow through capital appreciation and the power of compounding. Maggiulli uses historical data to illustrate how the long-term returns of the stock market have significantly outpaced inflation, highlighting the opportunity cost of remaining uninvested. The chapter emphasizes that while short-term market fluctuations can be unsettling, the long-term risk of not participating in the market and allowing inflation to diminish your wealth is a more significant concern for most people striving to build financial security. Key takeaways: inflation erodes cash value. Holding too much cash leads to a gradual loss of purchasing power over time. Opportunity cost of not investing. Staying out of the market means missing out on potential growth and compounding. Long-term market outperformance. Historically, stock market returns have significantly outpaced inflation. The real long-term risk. For most, the risk of not investing outweighs the risk of market volatility over the long run. Compounding missed. Not investing prevents your money from growing exponentially through compounding. Financial security at risk. Failing to invest can hinder the achievement of long-term financial goals. Just keep buying mitigates this risk. Consistent investment ensures participation in market growth and combats inflation. Chapter 5: The Greatest Predictor of Future Returns. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli delves into what historical data suggests is the most reliable indicator of future stock market returns over the long term: the current valuation of the market, specifically the Shiller-Cape ratio, cyclically adjusted price-to-earnings ratio. He explains how a high Cape ratio has historically been associated with lower future returns over the subsequent 10 to 20 years, and vice versa. However, Maggiulli cautions against using this as a short-term market timing tool. While valuations can provide some insight into long-term expectations, they are not precise predictors of near-term market movements. He argues that even when valuations appear high, the best course of action for most investors remains just keep buying, as trying to time the market based on valuations can still lead to missed opportunities and the behavioral errors discussed in earlier chapters. The chapter emphasizes understanding the relationship between valuation and long-term returns, while reinforcing the core strategy of consistent investment. Key takeaways. Shiller-Cape ratio, a key metric for assessing long-term market valuation and potential future returns. High valuation, lower future returns. Historically, higher Cape ratios have historically correlated with lower subsequent long-term returns. Not a short-term timing tool. Valuations are poor predictors of near-term market movements. Risk of market timing based on valuation. Trying to time the market based on Cape can still lead to missed gains. Long-term perspective. Valuation is more relevant for understanding long-term expectations. Just keep buying remains prudent. Even with high valuations, consistent investment is generally the better strategy for most. Focus on long-term growth. Don't let valuation concerns derail a consistent investment plan. Chapter 6. How much should you save? In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli tackles the crucial question of determining an appropriate savings rate. He acknowledges that there's no one-size-fits-all answer, as individual circumstances, income levels, and financial goals vary significantly. However, Maggiulli presents a framework for thinking about savings, emphasizing the importance of saving a meaningful percentage of your income rather than focusing on arbitrary rules of thumb. He discusses how a higher savings rate accelerates wealth accumulation and provides a greater margin of safety. Maggiulli also touches upon the concept of lifestyle creep and the importance of keeping expenses in check as income rises to maximize savings potential. The chapter encourages readers to assess their own financial situations and goals to determine a sustainable and effective savings rate that allows them to both build wealth for the future and enjoy their present lives. Key takeaways. No one size fits all. The ideal savings rate varies based on individual circumstances. Save a meaningful percentage. Focus on saving a significant portion of your income. Higher savings, faster wealth. A greater savings rate leads to quicker wealth accumulation. Margin of safety. Higher savings provide a larger financial buffer. Combat lifestyle creep. Keep expenses in check as income increases to maximize savings. Assess your situation and goals. Determine a sustainable savings rate based on your needs and aspirations. Balance future and present. Find a savings rate that allows you to build wealth while still enjoying life. Chapter 7. Where should you invest? In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli provides guidance on asset allocation for the just keep buying strategy. He advocates for a diversified portfolio primarily focused on broad market index funds, particularly those tracking the S&P 500, and a broad market index like the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. Maggiulli argues that these low-cost, diversified funds offer exposure to a wide range of companies and historically have provided strong long-term returns. He also discusses the role of bonds in a portfolio, particularly for risk reduction as investors approach retirement, but emphasizes that for younger investors focused on growth, stocks should form the majority of their holdings. The chapter simplifies the often complex topic of asset allocation, steering readers away from trying to pick individual winners or overly complex strategies and towards the proven effectiveness of broad diversification through index funds. Key takeaways. Focus on broad market index funds. Prioritize low-cost diversified funds like S&P 500 and total market indexes. Diversification is key. Spreading investments across a wide range of assets reduces risk. Historical strength of equities. Stocks have historically provided strong long-term returns. Role of bonds for risk reduction. Bonds can help lower portfolio volatility, especially closer to retirement. Stocks for growth. Younger investors. Younger investors with a longer time horizon should generally allocate more to stocks. Simplicity over complexity. Avoid trying to pick individual stocks or overly intricate strategies. Low costs matter. Index funds typically have lower expense ratios, maximizing returns over time. Chapter 8. The Case for Diversification. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli elaborates on the crucial principle of diversification in investing. He explains that by spreading investments across various asset classes, sectors, and geographies, investors can significantly reduce unsystematic risk, the risk associated with individual companies or specific industries. Maggiulli uses historical examples to illustrate how even seemingly stable companies can face unexpected challenges, highlighting the danger of concentrating investments in a few areas. He emphasizes that diversification doesn't guarantee positive returns or eliminate market risk entirely, but it does smooth out volatility and increases the likelihood of capturing long-term market growth by ensuring exposure to different parts of the economy that may perform well at different times. The chapter reinforces the idea that for most individuals following a just-keep-buying strategy, broad diversification through low-cost index funds is the most sensible and reliable approach to managing risk. Key takeaways: reduce unsystematic risk. Diversification helps protect against the risks associated with individual companies or sectors. Spread across assets, sectors, geographies, investing in a variety of areas provides broader exposure. Individual companies can fail. Even seemingly stable businesses can face unforeseen problems. Doesn't eliminate market risk. Diversification can't protect against overall market downturns. Smooths out volatility. A diversified portfolio tends to experience less dramatic swings. Increases likelihood of capturing growth. Exposure to different areas ensures participation in various market successes. Index funds offer built-in diversification. Broad market index funds are a simple way to achieve diversification. Chapter 9. Understanding Risk and Return. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli delves into the fundamental relationship between risk and return in investing. He explains that higher potential returns generally come with higher levels of risk, and vice versa. Maggiulli emphasizes that risk isn't just about market volatility, but also includes the potential for permanent loss of capital. He discusses different types of risk, such as market risk, inflation risk, and liquidity risk. The chapter highlights the importance of understanding your own risk tolerance, your ability and willingness to withstand market fluctuations, and aligning your investment strategy accordingly. Maggiulli cautions against chasing high returns without fully understanding the associated risks and stresses that for most long-term investors, following a just-keep-buying approach, a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds, aligned with their risk tolerance and time horizon, offers a reasonable balance between potential returns and manageable risk. Key takeaways: risk and return are linked. Higher potential returns typically come with higher risk. Risk beyond volatility. Risk includes the possibility of permanent loss of capital. Different types of risk: market risk, inflation risk, liquidity risk, etc. Understand your risk tolerance. Know your ability and willingness to handle market swings. Align strategy with tolerance. Your investment choices should match your comfort level with risk. Avoid chasing high returns blindly. Understand the risks associated with potentially high growth investments. Diversified portfolio balances risk and return. A mix of stocks and bonds can offer a suitable balance for many long-term investors. Chapter 10. The Role of Debt in Wealth Building. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli examines the complex relationship between debt and wealth accumulation. He distinguishes between good debt, typically low-interest debt on appreciating assets like a home or investments that can generate future income, and bad debt, high-interest debt on depreciating assets like consumer goods. Maggiulli argues that while excessive bad debt can significantly hinder wealth-building efforts by diverting income towards interest payments, strategically used good debt can potentially accelerate wealth accumulation over the long term. However, he emphasizes the importance of caution and responsible management of all forms of debt, highlighting the risks associated with over-leveraging. The chapter suggests that for those following a just-keep-buying strategy, prioritizing the elimination of high-interest debt while potentially leveraging low-interest debt for strategic asset acquisition can be a nuanced aspect of their overall financial plan. Key takeaways. Good debt versus bad debt. Differentiate between low-interest debt on appreciating assets and high-interest debt on depreciating items. Bad debt hinders wealth. High-interest debt diverts money from savings and investments. Good debt can be strategic. Low-interest debt on appreciating assets can potentially accelerate wealth. Caution and responsible management. All debt requires careful management and understanding of the risks. Avoid over-leveraging. Taking on too much debt of any kind can be dangerous. Prioritize eliminating bad debt. Focus on paying off high-interest debt first. Nuanced approach to good debt. Consider the strategic use of low-interest debt for long-term asset growth. Chapter 11. Investing in a down market. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli addresses the often anxiety-inducing experience of investing during market downturns. He argues that while seeing the value of your investments decline can be unsettling, down markets actually present significant opportunities for long-term investors who adhere to the just keep buying strategy. Maggiulli explains that buying more shares at lower prices during a downturn leads to a lower average cost per share over time, setting the stage for potentially higher returns when the market eventually recovers. He emphasizes the importance of resisting the urge to panic sell during market declines, as this locks in losses and prevents participation in the subsequent rebound. The chapter reinforces the idea that volatility is a normal part of investing and that viewing down markets as buying opportunities rather than reasons to abandon your strategy is a key to long-term success. Key takeaways. Down markets are opportunities. Lower prices allow you to buy more shares for the same amount of money. Lower average cost. Consistent buying during downturns reduces your average purchase price. Potential for higher future returns. Buying low sets the stage for greater gains during recovery. Resist panic selling. Selling during a downturn locks in losses and misses the rebound. Volatility is normal. Market fluctuations are a natural part of investing. View downturns as buying opportunities. Reframe negative market movements as chances to acquire assets at a discount. Reinforces just keep buying. This strategy is particularly beneficial during market declines. Chapter 12. When to sell and when not to. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli tackles the often asked question of when it's appropriate to sell investments within the context of a just keep buying strategy. He argues that for most long-term investors, selling should be a relatively infrequent event triggered by specific circumstances rather than attempts to time the market or chase short-term gains. Maggiulli outlines appropriate reasons for selling, such as rebalancing a portfolio that has become significantly out of alignment with its target allocation, needing to fund a major life event like retirement or a down payment on a house, or when your fundamental investment thesis for a specific holding has changed drastically. He strongly cautions against selling based on market fluctuations, fear, or the desire to lock in short-term profits, as these actions often lead to missed long-term growth. The chapter reinforces the buy-and-hold mentality inherent in just keep buying, with selling reserved for strategic life or portfolio management reasons. Key takeaways. Selling should be infrequent. For long-term investors, selling shouldn't be a regular occurrence. Reasons to sell: rebalancing, funding major life events, or a fundamental change in investment thesis. Don't sell based on market noise. Avoid selling due to fear, short-term fluctuations, or the urge to lock in small gains. Missed long-term growth. Frequent selling can lead to missing out on the power of compounding. Reinforces buy and hold. Just keep buying emphasizes staying invested for the long run. Strategic selling. Selling should be driven by your long-term financial plan and goals. Focus on the why. Have a clear and logical reason before deciding to sell. Chapter 13. Overcoming your fear of missing out, FOMO. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli addresses the powerful psychological phenomenon of the fear of missing out, FOMO, and its detrimental effects on investment decisions. He explains how witnessing others seemingly making quick fortunes or participating in trending investments can trigger anxiety and the urge to deviate from a sound long-term strategy like just keep buying. Maggiulli highlights that chasing hyped assets or trying to replicate the successes of others often leads to buying high and selling low, ultimately harming returns. He argues that the best way to combat FOMO is to focus on your own financial goals and time horizon, understand the risks associated with speculative investments, and trust in the proven effectiveness of a consistent, diversified approach. The chapter emphasizes that true financial success is a marathon, not a sprint, and resisting the temptation to chase fleeting trends is crucial for long-term wealth building and peace of mind. Key takeaways: FOMO leads to poor decisions. The fear of missing out can drive impulsive and detrimental investment choices. Chasing trends is risky. Buying hyped assets often results in buying high. Focus on your own goals. Your financial plan should be tailored to your individual circumstances. Understand speculative risks. Be aware of the dangers of investing in assets with unproven long-term value. Trust the process. Believe in the effectiveness of a consistent, diversified strategy like just keep buying. Long-term perspective. Wealth building is a marathon, not a sprint. Resist temptation. Avoid deviating from your plan due to the perceived successes of others. Chapter 14, Dealing with Market Volatility. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli tackles the inevitable ups and downs of the stock market, volatility, and provides strategies for managing the emotional challenges it presents. He emphasizes that market volatility is a normal and unavoidable part of investing, and that trying to avoid it entirely often means missing out on long-term growth. Maggiulli discusses how our natural psychological biases, such as loss aversion, can make market downturns feel more painful than gains feel good, leading to impulsive selling. He argues that the key to weathering volatility is to adopt a long-term perspective, understand that temporary declines are part of the process, and focus on the consistent act of buying rather than obsessing over short-term price fluctuations. The chapter encourages investors to view volatility as the price of admission for long-term market returns and to develop the mental fortitude to stay the course through both bull and bear markets. Key takeaways: volatility is inevitable. Market fluctuations are a normal part of investing. Avoidance means missing growth. Trying to sidestep volatility often leads to lower long-term returns. Loss aversion: we feel losses more intensely than gains. Long-term perspective is key. Focus on the years and decades, not the days and weeks. Temporary declines are normal. Market downturns are a natural part of the cycle. Focus on buying, not price watching. Concentrate on consistent investment rather than short-term movements. Volatility is the price of admission. Accept fluctuations as the cost of long-term market returns. Chapter 15, The Psychology of Spending. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli shifts focus to the often overlooked psychological aspects of spending and how they relate to our ability to save and invest. He explores the emotional drivers behind our purchasing decisions, highlighting that spending is often tied to identity, social status, and immediate gratification rather than purely rational needs. Maggiulli discusses how comparing ourselves to others, keeping up with the Joneses, and the allure of instant satisfaction can lead to overspending and hinder our long-term financial goals. He emphasizes the importance of being mindful of our spending habits, understanding the psychological triggers that drive them, and aligning our expenditures with our values and long-term financial well-being. The chapter suggests that by developing a healthier psychological relationship with spending, we can free up more resources for saving and investing, ultimately accelerating our journey towards financial security. Key takeaways: spending is emotional. Our purchasing decisions are often driven by feelings, not just needs. Identity and status. Spending can be tied to how we see ourselves and how we want others to see us. Immediate gratification. The desire for instant satisfaction can lead to overspending. Keeping up with the Joneses, social comparison fuels unnecessary spending. Mindful spending. Be aware of your spending habits and their underlying motivations. Align spending with values. Ensure your expenditures reflect what's truly important to you. Healthier spending, more savings. Understanding spending psychology can free up more money for investing. Chapter 16, Keeping Up with the Joneses. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli delves into the powerful and often detrimental social phenomenon of keeping up with the Joneses, the tendency to compare our possessions and lifestyles to those around us and feel pressure to match or exceed them. He explains how social media and the constant exposure to curated images of others' lives can exacerbate this tendency, leading to a cycle of unnecessary spending and dissatisfaction. Maggiulli argues that this external comparison distracts us from our own financial goals and can prevent us from building true wealth. He emphasizes the importance of focusing on our own financial journey, defining our personal version of enough, and recognizing that true wealth is often invisible, as discussed earlier in the book. The chapter encourages readers to resist the urge to impress others through conspicuous consumption and instead prioritize their own long-term financial security and happiness. Key takeaways. Social comparison is detrimental. Constantly comparing ourselves to others leads to dissatisfaction and overspending. Social media amplifies the effect. Curated online lives create unrealistic benchmarks. Distraction from personal goals. Focusing on others' lifestyles derails our own financial plans. Define your enough. Determine what level of wealth and possessions truly satisfies you. True wealth is often invisible. Don't be fooled by outward displays of affluence. Focus on your own journey. Prioritize your own financial security and happiness over external validation. Resist conspicuous consumption. Avoid unnecessary spending aimed at impressing others. Chapter 17, The Importance of Patience. In this chapter, Nick Maggiulli underscores the critical role of patience in achieving long-term financial success, particularly within the framework of the just keep buying strategy. He emphasizes that building wealth is a gradual process that unfolds over years and decades, not through get-rich-quick schemes or attempts at short-term market timing. Maggiulli highlights the power of compounding, which takes significant time to work its magic, and cautions against the human tendency for impatience and the desire for immediate results. He argues that the ability to stay the course, resist the urge to make impulsive decisions based on short-term market noise, and consistently adhere to a long-term investment plan is a key differentiator between successful and unsuccessful investors. The chapter reinforces the idea that patience is not just a virtue, but a fundamental requirement for harnessing the full potential of compounding and achieving lasting financial security. Key takeaways. Wealth building is gradual. It takes years and decades, not short bursts of activity. Compounding takes time. The exponential growth of investments requires a long horizon. Resist impatience. Avoid the urge for quick results and impulsive decisions. Focus on the long term. Prioritize years and decades over short-term fluctuations. Stay the course. Consistently adhere to your investment plan through market ups and downs. Patience is a key differentiator. Successful investors are often those who can remain patient. Unlock the power of compounding. Patience allows compounding to work its full effect. Chapter 18, Building a Financial Fortress. In this concluding chapter, Nick Maggiulli brings together the core principles of the book, framing the just keep buying strategy as a way to build a robust and resilient financial fortress. He emphasizes that this approach, characterized by consistent saving, diversified investing, and a long-term perspective, provides a strong foundation for achieving financial security and weathering life's inevitable financial storms. Maggiulli reiterates the importance of understanding your own psychology, avoiding emotional decision-making, and focusing on the factors you can control, such as your savings rate and consistency. He concludes by encouraging readers to embrace the simplicity and power of just keep buying as a sustainable and effective path towards building lasting wealth and achieving their financial goals, ultimately creating a sense of security and freedom. Key takeaways. Just keep buying builds a fortress. Consistent saving and investing create a strong financial foundation. Resilience to financial storms. This strategy helps weather market downturns and unexpected events. Focus on controllables. Emphasize savings rate and consistency over market predictions. Avoid emotional decisions. Understand and manage your psychological biases. Simplicity and power. The just keep buying approach is straightforward yet highly effective. Long-term security and freedom. The ultimate goal is to achieve financial well-being and autonomy. Embrace the strategy, adopt just keep buying as a sustainable path to wealth. This concludes our summary of Nick Maggiulli's Just Keep Buying. It's a book that champions a straightforward and psychologically sound approach to building wealth over the long term. And that wraps up our exploration of Nick Maggiulli's Just Keep Buying. I hope you're leaving with a renewed sense of clarity and a powerful understanding of the effectiveness of simplicity and consistency in building wealth. Remember, it's often about the steady, persistent effort rather than trying to hit a home run with every investment. What were your biggest takeaways from Maggiulli's data-driven approach? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful and you're ready to fully embrace the power of consistent investing and build your own financial fortress, I highly recommend picking up the full version of Just Keep Buying. Nick Maggiulli provides a wealth of data, insights, and practical advice that can significantly impact your financial future. You'll find a link to purchase the book in the description below. It's a game changer for anyone serious about long-term wealth building without the stress of constant market speculation. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, share it with anyone who could benefit from a simpler approach to investing, and subscribe to PowerBooks for more insightful explorations of the books that can empower your financial journey. Until next time, keep learning, keep saving, and most importantly, just keep buying.